I am discovering a tool. I'm discovering something that has changed my life and is actively changing my life. And I am sharing that with you. And I trust that this is reaching the people that it needs to reach, and that this is resonating with the people that it needs to resonate with. You're listening to Writer Unblocked, the podcast for serious authors who are ready to scale their careers with smart strategy. I'm Nicole, your host, and I help authors navigate publishing, marketing, and multi-format expansion, all while keeping the vibe high. I have been looking forward to this episode for a couple of weeks now, and I have talked about it a little bit ahead of time. So some of you are here because you have been eagerly waiting to hear about why I broke up with consistency. Consistency and discipline are not the same thing. And that is not something I realized until I got into human design. I did my human design chart, which anybody can do online. Google it. There's plenty of ways to get your human design done. For those of you who don't know what human design is, it's a framework that combines astrology with quantum concepts and I Ching and Kabbalah and all and chakras and everything. So the gist is that there are only 5 types of wiring that a human being can have. And for years, I have struggled with this be consistent, be disciplined and consistent, interchangeably discipline, consistency. And I've always struggled and thought there was something wrong with me. I thought that I was broken because I work in these waves. I have these creative impulses and I am successful and then I am incredibly fatigued for a long period of time. And then I suddenly I'm back again and it's not a consistent mode of being or of working. And I have suffered tremendously um, throughout my whole life, mostly my adult life as well, because then you get into work and school and running a business. And it wasn't until I did my human design chart and I did it for fun. I wasn't expecting anything revolutionary to happen that it just really clicked. And and it was just so eye-opening to be like, "Oh, I am not broken. There are people who operate this way." And whether you believe in any of these concepts is irrelevant. The fact that something is telling me out there that there are other people who are wired this way is enough for me. So, I'm not trying to change anybody's beliefs about anything, but it was an eye-opening experience to find out, okay, other people are wired like me because somebody bothered to write about a type of person who is this way. So I create in waves. My energy comes in these waves. And trust me, I've done the lab work. I've seen doctors. I thought I had fibromyalgia for a long time. I thought it was my vitamin D, my B, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Exercise more, exercise less, do this, do that. No. The way that I am wired to operate, I operate in these high waves of creativity and then I go into rest mode. And my type, which is the manifestor type, is supposed to honor these rest cycles so that I can then have the energy to create again. And what I've been doing, because I've been conditioned by society and the normal advice, which is hustle, hustle, hustle. If you really want it, work at it every day, be consistent with your energy, be consistent with your commitment. What has happened is I'm in a constant state of burnout. I'm in a constant state of burnout and I feel this deep shame when I have this urge to rest because I feel like I'm lazy. I feel like I'm not doing anything. I feel like I'm not committed to my business or I'm not committed to whatever thing I'm trying to accomplish. And for the last couple of weeks, I have taken this information, I have dug deeper into what else it means to be a quote unquote manifestor in human design. And this podcast episode would never be long enough for me to share everything I have found. And I am still in the process of understanding my chart, so to speak. And so there's so many more elements besides just how your energy is. But it got me thinking about the advice that is always out there for authors, and even the own advice that sometimes I've given authors, which is be consistent, write 3,000 words a day if you really want to, always carve Friday mornings to do this thing that you're going to do. I can't even have a consistent laundry schedule. I've tried. I'm a very operational person, which is really hard when you're a manifestor because my operational brain is like, yep, every Monday is this, every Tuesday is this, every Friday I do laundry. And it doesn't happen consistently. It happens when I have this urge. No, that doesn't mean I don't feed my family every day, 3 times a day. It doesn't mean that I don't serve my clients responsibly. It doesn't mean I don't do my work responsibly. I am very successful in my professional life. I am known to deliver. The point is not that I'm going to show up in the world and then I'm going to disappear and be quote unquote lazy and I won't answer an email and I won't do anything during my rest cycle. It just means that my brain power is not forced to create at all times. Now, I'll admit, I am very jealous of people who are generators, which is another type. And these people, I've seen it before I knew what human design. I've seen people who have this consistent energy, consistent energy. They spend it all day, and at night they rest, and the next day they wake up refreshed, and they have a consistent way of drawing this energy, and it comes from their sacral center. My sacral center, according to my chart, is not defined. My defined center is the throat and the solar plexus, which means I'm connected more to an emotional wave. It also means that I cannot make decisions in the moment. I have to ride the emotional wave before I make a decision, maybe wait 24 hours or a couple days or sleep on it. Whereas some people are wired to have a much more refined gut instinct to make decisions in the moment. Anyway, back to energy. When I started doing my business coaching, executive coaching, which I then transitioned to author coaching because I've been working with authors for so long in my day job, and I love it so much, and I love books, and I love working with authors and stories. I was, of course, told, be consistent, post every day, or it has to be this many reels and this many stories, and this resonates with authors, right? Because they're told you have to do this on social media, you have to grow, and you have to like show up this way, and you have to create, and you have to write, and you have to constantly be putting this stuff out. And then when I started this podcast, which by the way, it's a year old, and I am so proud of it. I struggled with, okay, am I doing weekly? And so I was trying to do weekly episodes and then I was burning out. And then I thought, okay, maybe I'll take a week break or 2 weeks of a break. And then I'm going to go back and I'm just going to do these weekly episodes. And I have to tell you right now, I am transitioning my podcast to honor my energy. We're going to do seasons and we're going to do them in bursts. And it's going to be great because it honors how I want to create. I have created post consistently. There are very good posts and I've gotten some traction, but I noticed that even in the way authors respond to me on social media or my email newsletter or my offers is when I have been quiet for a while and deeply resting and then I have this creative urge and inspiration and then suddenly the engagement is different. And it's so interesting to watch and it makes me so happy because I'm like, huh, how funny that my business and the world around me and my clients and potential clients are answering me in the same way. My newsletter opt-ins are the same way. I will suddenly have all these people opt-in into my newsletter, which warms my heart. And then for a week or two, it'll be so quiet. And I think something's wrong. What am I doing? But nothing has changed. I have not changed the cadence of advertising. I have not changed anything about the newsletter, the landing page, nothing. And people just sort of appear and then it gets quiet and then they appear. So maybe that means I am attracting my tribe. And I'm really, really pleased to see that. And I am no longer beating myself up because, Instagram loves showing you these dashboards and the little arrow trending up or down. And like, if this week you had 10,000 overall views and the next week it's down by 5%, you're beating yourself up. And it's just, I'm not wired that way. According to human design, 8% of the population is wired like me. So 8% of the population are manifestors. That is not a huge percent. So manifestors are people who their energy is meant to initiate. And I have seen that in retrospect when I think about my life, my energy, and how people are attracted to me, friends, colleagues, clients. I'm an initiator. So people who are not manifestors, for example, tend to get a lot of value by being around me and working with me because they may have goals and dreams and things they want to do. And for some reason, their type does may not enable them to have that initiator energy. And so I'm always rallying people at work. I'm always connecting teams. I'm always drawing together like what is going to be the strategy, and then I am meant to step back and let people do what they need to do. Delegate, not micromanage, uh, be collaborative, but take a step back. And that's been hard for me because I'm a doer. I love executing also, but that's not necessarily what I am meant to do, especially in the creative arena. I bring a lot of value to my job as publisher because I am at an executive level, thinking strategically, thinking high level about how our books and our authors are elevated and how we're making these multi-million dollar deals. Great. But I have had much more success over the last couple of months by honoring this type of energy. Even before I discovered human design, I just started really, even subconsciously, I guess, trying to understand why I would dip into these rest cycles. And again, I still go to work, I still answer emails, I still go to meetings, I'm still quote unquote effective, but I am not in this intense mode of creation. When I do get into intense mode of creation, ideas are great. I'm initiating and people are initiating with me. People are sort of borrowing that from me. And at the same time, because I don't have a sacral center defined and I don't have that consistent energy, like that motor, I like being around people. Those people then give me the energy to continue doing, the project. And that's why I love my one-on-ones with authors. I love getting to know authors and hearing their unique goals and story. Like no two authors are alike. I've coached so many authors. I've worked with so many authors in my 15, 16-year career. And it's just fascinating to me how no two authors are alike. And what they care about is so different. I've worked with authors who are like, what's the money? What's the money? What's the money? And they're focused on like, what's the paycheck? And I've worked with authors who are like, "It's not about the money for me, it's about having fun." And I've worked with authors who are like, "It has to be traditional or nothing." And I have authors who are like, "Nope, I'm gonna self-publish. I work at this pace and it's a faster pace, and I'm not gonna wait for traditional publishers and agents." And so we are such diverse people as human beings. We're diverse people. And whether you believe in human design or not is irrelevant. I think you can agree we're not wired the same way. We are not wired the same way. And so we have to stop taking this conventional advice about consistency and does it mean I'm not disciplined because I'm not being consistent. I am being consistent in my inconsistency. I am being consistent in honoring that this is how I work. And it's been hard. I am not good at resting. I am really, really bad at doing nothing. And I have been really trying to honor the rest cycles as they come, and they can last hours, they can last days, they can even last months from what I've read from other manifestors. I've found a community of manifestors, which has been really helpful, and I've been learning a lot about how they approach the frustration of rest and waiting to decide something. I'm always so excited for everything. I'm excited about the world. I'm excited about stories. I'm excited about technology, but not every decision for me can be made in the moment. And I love making decisions in the moment, but I'm working on it. So I wanted to share this because also my profile, which again, I'm not going to get into it too heavily. I'm not a human design expert, but my profile is a 3-5 profile. And part of what that means is that I'm here to learn by trial and error. And that's true. I got to try things myself to make a decision about whether it's good or bad. But it also means that I then take that information and I am meant to share it with people. And so it inspired me to make this episode because I don't need to be an expert on human design. I don't need to be right. I don't need to be wrong. I don't need you to believe in it. I am discovering a tool. I'm discovering something that has changed my life and is actively changing my life. And I am sharing that with you. And I trust that this is reaching the people that it needs to reach, and that this is resonating with the people that it needs to resonate with. And they're going to look up their own human design chart, and maybe they're going to be like, wow, that is something that really resonates with me, because as an author, burnout is real. I mean, everybody gets burnt out, but there are so many challenges in the creative when you're a creator, and when you're specifically a creator of stories. I think that there's a lot of vulnerability, there's a lot of burnout, there's a lot of uncertainty, there's a lot of imposter syndrome. And again, there's when you watch an author who's maybe is wired as a generator or wired at something else, and they're like those authors who are putting out a book a month, and you look at yourself and you're like, "Wow, there's something wrong with me, and I'm just not good enough. I'm not disciplined enough. I don't want it bad enough, and that's why I'm not working as hard." And that's not true. So what you're gonna see from me going forward is I'm not going to post consistently. If I have something to share with you, my audience, you will see it. If I have an episode that I want to record, I will record it and share it with you. But I'm no longer adhering to this rigid framework or schedule that forces me to create when I am in a place of rest and fatigue, and I'm just trying to check a box to say, I posted this week. I had an episode go out this week. And guess what? When I don't post a podcast episode, my downloads obviously tend to go down, and that is normal. But you know what I've noticed? It's not zero. When I am not publishing episodes, there are downloads on my podcast, which is really beautiful to see. Now, when I have an active cycle of podcast episodes, sure, the number is higher. Of course, it's higher. And there's nothing wrong with that. So, let me know if you enjoyed this episode. Let me know if this resonated with you. Let me know if you want to go on a human design journey with me. And I'm so grateful for the human design authors. I have read 2, 3 books now on human design. And I'm so, so grateful that those people didn't give up and didn't listen to self-doubt or imposter syndrome. And they somehow got their books out there in the world, because those books helped me really, really understand. I'm not joking when I say that this has been life-changing for me, so like solely in the fact that I am no longer judging myself for when I need to rest. That just that alone. And there's more. There's more. My chart has, there's 64 gates. Each gate means something different. Some of your gates are connected, they're not connected. There's so much rich information in there. And you don't have to take everything at face value, but it is a self-discovery tool. And I am highly recommending it to you. So if you like this episode, leave me a comment, leave me a review, connect with me on Instagram. It's at Reignite with Nicole. And you can also go to the Writer Unblocked podcast.com to check out the show notes, where I do recommend some of the books I've read. And I'm linking over to some of the places where I have been able to get a free human design chart. Okay, see you next time. Thank you so much for joining me this week. For more information on today's episode, please check out the show notes or go to writerunblockedpodcast.com. Before we wrap up, if today's episode sparked ideas for your author career, don't let them sit in your head. Take action. If you are ready for high impact support, I offer one-on-one strategy sessions to help authors like you navigate your author business with precision. Head to reignitewithnicole.com to book a session or apply for any of my author programs. And if you found this episode valuable, please share it with a fellow writer and leave a review. Thanks for listening to Writer Unblocked, and I will see you next time.